Hello and welcome back to yet another interesting roller coaster idea. And today I've decided to do a roller coaster countdown. And it has really been a long time since I've seen some roller coaster videos talking about the roller coasters with the most inversions. So guess what, the title for this video today is Top 10 Roller Coasters with the most inversions. And before you scroll away from this video, I got some really interesting picks for this list. And there are really many roller coaster clones out there that share the same number of total inversions. And on top of that, there are many other roller coasters that share the same number of inversions, and this is where I take the original rides that started this trend. And somehow I have created a very weird top 10 list, but let's see how it goes. And now please bear in mind, standing but not operating roller coasters cannot be seen in this list. And if you really like roller coaster videos like these, please consider subscribing to the channel. And now let's get into the list. Now coming in at spot number 10, we got Montu at Busch Gardens Tampa. And before talking about Montu, I really need to mention that there are many roller coasters around the world that feature 7 inversions. And this is where I could have included Helix, the awesome Mack Rides launch coaster that has one of the best locations in the world. And there are also many other great picks such as Voltron, the new for 2024 Mack Rides Striker coaster in Europa Park. And I could also include many other B&M looping coasters on this list. But this is where I've actually chosen the first roller coasters in the world to feature 7 inversions total. And spoiler alert, this list contains more roller coasters with 7 inversions. And now let's go back to Montu, because this roller coaster surprisingly features 7 inversions. And now when it comes to roller coasters filled with intensity, Montu is really a king right here. This awesome B&M inverted roller coaster opened all the way back in 1996. And this awesome roller coaster stands 150 feet tall and reaches a maximum speed of 60 miles per hour. And this awesome B&M inverted roller coaster has a very lengthy roller coaster track coming in at almost 4,000 feet in length. Even though Montu is quite old, this roller coaster is still filled with intensity and it feels glossy smooth. And Montu overall is just known for being the king of B&M inverted roller coasters, and I really think that's true. This roller coaster really features some insane positive G-forces, and after you're done with a ride on Montu, you can't really feel your legs because the blood is gone. And now coming in at spot number 9, we got Kumba located in Busch Gardens Tampa. And now surprisingly, in the same park we got yet another positive G-force heavy B&M looping coaster. And this is where I need to mention that Kumba is ranked higher because this roller coaster is older, therefore more original in my opinion. Kumba opened all the way back in 1993 as an awesome sit-down thrill coaster made by B&M. And in the recent years there have actually been some rumors about Kumba getting removed in the future, but we haven't really seen anything more about it. And now I can't see the point in Kumba's removal because this roller coaster is not that popular, and on top of that the roller coaster is located all the way in the back end of this huge park. In terms of ride experience, Kumba is yet another very intense positive G-force heavy B&M coaster. Kumba features these traditional sit-down roller coaster trains, and in my opinion I really like them. And just like Montu, Kumba is of course filled with many inversions, and these are just filled with crushing positive G-forces. And now in terms of the Kumba / Montu debate, I will take Montu any day. Now coming in at spot number 8, we got Viper located in Six Flags Magic Mountain. And yes, surprise, we got yet another 7 inversion roller coaster, but Viper dates all the way back to 1990. And that means Viper is 3 years older than Kumba, and Viper is really a classic looping roller coaster. And sadly, Viper comes from an almost instinct coaster model. And this is where I'm of course talking about Aerodynamics Mega Looper coaster model. And sadly, most of these roller coaster installations were complete failures. But Viper surprisingly still stands tall at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This coaster features an incredible looping coaster height with 188 feet, and on top of that this coaster's speed is 70 miles per hour. And sadly, this roller coaster is quite polarizing today because Viper is quite rough, but it still offers strong intense G-forces. And now first of all we have people saying it's rough, it needs to get scrapped, and on the other side we have people who wants to keep this roller coaster standing. And coming in at spot number 7, we got the so-called Goudurix located in Park Asterix. And now surprise surprise, Goudurix is actually the oldest operating roller coaster with a total of 7 inversions. And this old roller coaster got to experience the 80s because Goudurix opened back in 1989. But oh boy, this roller coaster isn't really known for being a pleasant experience. And this twisted looping mess of track was created by the Dutch manufacturer called Vekoma. And now just like Aerodynamics, Vekoma was really known for creating these looping roller coasters, but some of these models were quite rough. And Vekoma has really made a huge comeback creating very smooth roller coasters to this day. And many people say Goudurix might be one of the worst roller coasters in the world, but I slightly disagree. And yes, the transitions going in and out of inversions on this coaster are very rough. But if you really just brace for impact, it isn't really that bad. But unfortunately, Goudurix still features these old Vekoma trains, and they are quite quite unpleasant to sit in. Yes, this coaster is shaky, but it still pulls some strong positive G-forces, but the worst thing about this coaster for me is actually the old Vekoma train. Now coming in at spot number 6 we got Avalancha located in Chitulul, and with no surprise I don't really know how to pronounce this park's name, but it is located in Guatemala, and the so-called Avalancha has been operating in this park since 2002, and this roller coaster has been manufactured by Inversions and it features a total of 8 inversions. And now we have finally moved out of the 7 inversion nightmare, and based on the stats on RCDB, the only thing we know about this coaster is the total inversion count and the maximum speed of 54.7 miles per hour. And well, you can see this roller coaster reminds you of another clone roller coaster layout coming later on this list, but this coaster only features 8 inversions. And what can I really say about Avalancha? It is located in Guatemala and I can't really go out to ride this coaster. And the craziest thing about this roller coaster layout is of course the ending, where you have these non-stop hardline rolls. And in the end this coaster flies through 3 of these hardline rolls, giving much hang time for the riders. Now coming in at spot number 5 we got Kahn located in Port Aventura. And yes, this awesome roller coaster opened all the way back in 1995, making Kahn the first roller coaster in the world to feature 8 total inversions. And now for a total of 30 years Kahn has crushed its riders with positive G-forces. And Kahn is part of the iconic B&M sit-down looping coaster model. Kahn features a very lengthy drop coming in at 161 feet, and the maximum speed on this coaster is 65 miles per hour. And now with no surprise, Kahn is really filled with many strong inversions, but the best one is the very whippy 0G roll. But unfortunately in the recent years Kahn has really gone quite rough. And now if you combine the rattle and roughness on Kahn with the heat down in Spain, you can really get dizzy here. So sadly Kahn might not be the most re-rideable roller coaster in the world. Now coming in at spot number 4 we got Alpen located in Canada's Wonderland. And this is really the only roller coaster on the list where I have decided to cheat a bit. Alpen has been announced for 2025 and they have also started construction on the coaster. So Alpen is technically standing but not operating, but if you wanted another 7 inversion coaster on the list, just tell me in the comments. But now looking at the stats, this is going to be one impressive roller coaster and the most ambitious roller coaster Premier Rides has ever created. This coaster features an awesome inversion that flies the roller coaster train up into this inside top hat. And after this incredible 71.5 miles per hour launch, you are in for a surprise because this roller coaster features many whippy inversions. This incredible launch coaster features a very lengthy roller coaster layout with a total of 9 impressive inversions. And now based on the animated footage of Alpen this really looks like a promising roller coaster with many bizarre roller coaster elements. Now coming in at spot number 3 we got Steel Curtain located in Kennywood. And Steel Curtain really is one very impressive hyper roller coaster created by S&S Worldwide. And now on top of 9 awesome inversions, this hyper coaster features the highest elevated inversion in the world, coming in at 197 feet. Steel Curtain is just so bizarre because the roller coaster is 220 feet tall, but the ride area is very small. This coaster features many bizarre roller coaster elements, and first of all you got the Dragonfire dive drop, you have a banana roll, a sea serpent roll, dive loop, 0G stall, corkscrew, cutbacks, you know what I mean. This coaster opened back in 2019, but due to support structure issues, this roller coaster has been standing but not operating for some years now. And right now the coaster is getting fixed, so the roller coaster will probably open for the 2025 season, so that still counts as a coaster on my list. And hopefully they will do something about the lift hill because that is one of the slowest in the world. Now coming in at spot number 2 we got Colossus located at Thorpe Park. And yes, Colossus is part of the very iconic Clone 10 inversion roller coaster layout created by Inversions. And now if I included every 10 inversion coaster clone on this list, there wouldn't really have been any other roller coasters on the list, man. That's why I've decided to include the prototype, the first one, Colossus at Thorpe Park. In terms of stats, this roller coaster isn't that impressive. The roller coaster height is 98 feet, the maximum speed is 44.7 miles per hour, but the total inversion count is 10. Very impressive. And sadly in the recent years Colossus has gone quite rough, and it also features some old Intamin trains that are very unpleasant to sit in. And yes, the newer versions of this coaster model are way better, and they also feature some lap bars, and that is just nice. And the most iconic thing about this 10 inversion coaster model is of course the quadruple hardline roll in the end. And when you think the ride is done, the coaster goes through yet another hardline roll in the end. Now coming in at spot number 1 we got the Smiler at Alton Towers. And if you are a roller coaster enthusiast, the number 1 spot came with no surprise because the Smiler has held this record for many years now. This impressive coaster has a total inversion count of 14. This incredible roller coaster is created by the German manufacturer called Goudurix. The whole roller coaster layout on the Smiler is mainly split into 2 parts where you have 2 different lift hills, and the second one is actually a vertical lift hill. This impressive Goudurix Infinity coaster has been operating since 2013, and that means the Smiler has held this record for 12 years now. And it's impressive to see that the Smiler features many different inversions such as dive loops, corkscrew inversions, sea serpent rolls and sidewinders. And now we finally come to an end of this video. I really want to know your thoughts in the comments below, please. And if you really like roller coaster videos, please consider checking out my channel for much more. And now at the end of the day, I'm always gonna say bye bye.